I'm ready. I got to be play out. So if I can just, I've been on this whole
I'm left. What you mean? Oh, well, you can do that.
I mean, somewhere outside where the pressure's low.
Well, hi.
How you doing? You didn't know I was back here at all.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, good.
Everybody.
Excuse me.
All right. Would you take this and get a date put on it and hang it on? All right. I need a motion to re-enter the regular meeting. Selectman Tullis made the motion. Selectman Eubanks. All in favor of re-entering the meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Unanimous. Selectman McKenzie absent, did not vote. All right. He did not vote. All right, I need a motion to add 2 additional items to the docket. Selectman Eubanks.
Second.
To add 2 additional items, and Selectman Brock, is that you, sir?
Yes.
All in favor of adding 2 additional items, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It was unanimous.
Eubanks said Crowley.
Yes, Eubanks made the motion, Brock for the second, vote was unanimous. We had 2 additional items. The first item on the agenda, on our addendum, is move to consider approving the travel of the Mayor's Youth Council to the MML Statewide Youth Leadership Summit in Jackson, Mississippi, March 2nd and 3rd, 2018. Bus supply charters, Post Office Box 1389, McComb, Mississippi, at a cost not to exceed $1,600. And to include, there'll be overnighting in a motel, and the registration fees will be something we'll have to pay. All those parts that go to it, meals are taken care of by the conference.
Yeah.
All right, Selectman, is there a motion and a second to that matter?
So moved.
Selectman McKenzie made the motion, Selectman Tullis for the second. Discussion.
How many students on the council?
We have 26 on active roll.
26 active?
Yeah.
And how many slots is it?
Well, we'll take as many as sign up, but they won't all sign up. It's, history tells us that we'll take, less than the full contingent.
Okay, the capacity is unlimited. Right now we got 26 active. All of those are not going.
All right, I don't have the roll on how many are going, Selectman Brock. Carol, Mr. Rawlings is getting the, taking head count now. And so we'll have chaperones that will go with us, and the kids will go, and that's what we did.
Okay, but again, the capacity is not a maximum amount of the number of students that can belong to the youth council.
Well, there are, this youth council is set, but, going forward, youth councils, that's up to the leader and to, the kids pick the council, gentlemen. They have people that apply. They decide on who's members of the council based on, the background, the resume of the particular applicant. But Carol has always, Ms. Rollins has always tried to keep it at a manageable number, and it's been in that 20 to 26 number. Okay. Further discussion? Vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And once I get that roll set up, I'll be glad to share that with you. The second item, would be Selectman Eubanks had a couple of items, and I don't have the motion, but I think you wanted to make a motion. Is that correct, sir? What is your motion?
My motion is to make sure I state it correctly. Is to bring to the board a vote concerning policy with the McComb Recreation Department pertaining to overtime for our city workers, for their work.
Okay. Board, okay, I'm just trying to think that we may be overstepping our getting out ahead of ourselves. Policies concerning overtime in all departments are set by our city administrator. You have given your city administrator full authority to do all set policies and hiring and such as that. So, if the changes to that policy will have to come from him to this board as a recommendation. Now, and then we implement policy, but he sets these kind of things in place, how these departments are run. That's how you run this city. So we're making a motion here. I don't think we've got anything we can do.
What it is that this, in my belief, this policy that's set forth with dealing with overtime is illegal. So it does have something to do with us, because our workers are not being compensated for their time. And under federal guidelines and employment law, anytime a person works over 40 hours, they are entitled to overtime. These workers in the rec department don't get overtime; they get comp time. That puts them that puts them at odds with all the other departments. Prime example, the Christmas parade. The rec department worked the Christmas parade. They didn't get overtime. The street department worked the parade. They got overtime. Okay? Anything over 40 hours they get. But for some reason, why don't the same workers that work for our other department get overtime? That's what I'm saying. They're compensated with comp time. Well, I think they should be given the choice if they want comp time or overtime. Under federal law, and interrupt me if I'm wrong, if federal law says that any worker that works over 40 hours should get time and a half, who are we to set policy against federal law? How can you say this section of these workers can get overtime, but these workers can't? I think we're all one big team, right? We all one team. So how can one set of workers be disallowed the same pleasures or whatever that this set of workers are getting?
Have you discussed it with your city administrator at all?
No.
Okay. Well, I think that would be a great idea for you to sit in and have a conversation with the city administrator, Miss Dillon, Miss Davis, who does this, and oversees this in the rec department, and try to get an answer. And then just scanning it back in here, we'd have. If you're trying to get a resolution here, I think that would be the place to go.
Well, I'm Selectman Eubanks, so I like the resolution, but I like for the whole entire board to hear these same matters, not separately, individual. Because when it gets to another person, they're all.
Well, how about going into his office and discussing these things, give him a chance to answer the questions?
Our administrator giving us a presentation on this?
Well, he'd be glad to, but I think that just to roll it out here and not trying to get an answer is
not tonight, but it's only fair that he give us a presentation.
Sure. Well, I know that he would gladly do that, but give him a chance to explore what he's talking about. Yeah.
Step back on Selectmen.
So, and I don't think that we can actually, that's, you can, the powers and authority you give to your city administrator, he's tagged with all of that.
That's fine.
Okay. And so please go sit down and take your concerns to the city administrator. I think that would be proper. Ms. Davis would come in and the regular director, and you could, and then bring something to the board.
This needs to be handled expeditiously, because these workers are going to be working Saturday, and they're going to be putting in overtime, and they're not going to be compensated for their hours. We can't override federal law.
Well, I have no idea what's going on, but let's get an answer to that. All right. Selectman Brock, do you have any?
Selectman Hill.
Selectman Hill, yes, sir.
I mean, but let's be clear that this board can bring policy to the board and amend, change, adopt any kind of policy that this board would like to. it's not fully just up to our city administrator. So let's not feed the public any false information. This board can, amend, present, adopt any policy that we bring forth.
And my simple question was, excuse me, I'm sorry. My simple question was, is this being done right now? Or was I told wrong? Is this policy in place right now? Just a simple question.
We'll have to get an answer to that, but there again, I'll bring this information to you. You have given, by policy, this board has signed off on policy that you've given all of those responsibilities to your city administrator, period. That's what you've done. And you can always change policy, but right now, your policy is that he's got everything.
So there could be a motion tonight to change it.
You could, that's correct.
Well, I want to bring a motion, that's what my motion is about, to change it.
But it's not gonna fly tonight because it's gonna be split and you're gonna break it. So, as you said, counsel with the, city administrator.
I think that would be the wise thing to do, to try to get some answers.
No, I want to bring it for a vote, because if you vote against this, our city workers are supposed to be paid according to their work. And if that is the policy, city administrator? Or if you don't know offhand, Ms. Donna or whoever HR is handling, maybe she would know. Is that the policy? It's a simple question. Is that the policy? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I'm not, listen, board, you
are engaging in illegal acts right now. Are you paying your workers the same across the board? It's a yes or no question. Why are we hedging on this? These are our workers. Either you care about your workers or you don't.
Son Brock.
I've been asked the same question to the city administrator, Mr. Butler. Our employees, how is overtime done? Are they getting paid overtime, or are they being forced to take comp time? Are they given the option of taking comp time, or what?
Okay, go for it.
They are given the option to take comp time. Now, remember, guys, the recreation department is a little different than any other department. When they have ball games, they work long hours. They may be off 2 or 3 days. They get comp time for that. And my understanding, based on our director, they sign documents saying that's what happens, when they get the comp time.
So we are basically telling them, you sign this or you ain't gonna get the job. Is that what we're saying?
No.
Okay, so they have an option. So you're telling me they have an option.
Yeah.
They can either take the comp time or take the money. Just what you're telling me. Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I want you to be sure about what you're finna say.
The option is to take the comp time because
Or
the city
don't
has
get
policy.
it. Or don't get it. Or don't get anything. Is what I'm saying. They're not actually given the option. They're being saying you're gonna get comp time. That's it, right?
Well, again, Mr. Bank, this is my first hearing of this. I did not know this was a problem. And I mean, so.
That's why I said
chance to answer the
but
question.
I just wanted to say one thing about that. What you just said is it's kind of considered different because they have to work these hours. When the water main broke over in front of Walgreens, we had to send workers out there. Was those workers given comp time or were they paid overtime for the street department? Okay.
Is this written down anywhere?
Yes.
Please, please, thank you.
But yeah, but these are all policies.
That was in it before you came. I know you didn't write them, but we wanted to try to get them. Because legally, I think we're wrong by not paying them overtime or really giving them the option to say if you want comp time or overtime. The policy, I do believe, only gives them comp time. They're not given the option of having overtime. That's what
And board, it's just a matter of policy in general. We set policy. It's up to the city administrator to see that policy's implemented.
That's why I brought it to the board and then bring it to him, because we set policy.
That's correct. And the policy's in place that tells the city administrator to handle all the day-to-day affairs of the city, which includes, running these departments as they're run.
It does not tell him to do something that is illegal or against federal law. I don't
And I
remember
would
signing off
tell
on
you
that.
this, that the policy that has in place, they're implementing is
Just because it's policy don't make it right. It used to be policy that black people couldn't vote. That didn't make it right. So don't tell me about policy, because policy does not, should not dictate what go on that's illegal or immoral.
But this, you have set policy, Selectmen Eubanks, you set a policy and you,
I just want the workers, obviously the workers to be happy.
so you need to go sit down and talk to the city administrator, find out where the rub is, and try to, bring a different policy to this board instead of,
The policy is pay all city employees who work over 40 hours a week, time and a half. That's the policy. All city workers. All city workers that are not salaried. And that you do it. There should be one set of rules for this section of workers, one set of rules for this section of workers. We're all supposed to be on the same team. So why are we paying? And Mr. Dow, let me ask you a question as our attorney. If we don't pay our workers overtime after 40 hours, are we going against federal law?
We're required to follow the wage and hour laws.
There you go. So I don't know, I ain't remember seeing them about no comp time and no wage and hour law when I read it. So, there you go.
Question.
Yeah.
Mr. Butler, Administrator Butler, can you get us a breakdown for every department, with overtime? Every department, how much overtime is paid as deep down as the, individuals?
Anyway, the policy said they can't vary from policy. They've got to implement policy just as it's laid out. If it's wrong, it needs to be fixed.
Jump drive,
And,
have a city clerk purchase on for you.
We'll talk about that later on.
So,
I mean, that's something the board has to approve, for those things I kind of explained.
No, Mr. Butler, the board you got that power. The board does not have to approve a jump drive.
I guess just get on Mr. Butler tonight,
No, just get on
I
Mr.
guess
Butler's
I guess
job.
it's my time.
Mr. Hot seat.
Yeah, it's time to get on Mr. Butler
No,
tonight.
that's
Okay,
right.
all right.
It may be time for it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, you can buy those. You don't have to get approval from the board, period.
Okay.
We just got cameras in here, Mr. Butler.
We didn't have cameras. Mr. Don, will you please explain this, what you just gave us?
Hold, Mr. Butler.
Yes, sir.
You just approved cameras in here not long ago, right?
Yes, sir.
For how many hundreds of dollars? $2,100?
Yes,
And
sir.
it didn't have to be approved. So we ain't been had cameras, we just got cameras recently.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
all right, Ms. Stacey, what have you handed us?
What I gave you all was the City of McComb policy, as it relates to comp time. And we are operating under the regulations and guidelines of the SLSA. And it basically gives state and local governments the option to either give their employees comp time or pay overtime.
So this is a FSLA, what is that acronym for?
Fair Labor Standards Act.
Fair Labor Standards Act. So you're saying that our policy is in line with the Fair Labor Standards Act?
Yes, it is.
Okay, but that, if you read, it says for public safety, emergency response, and seasonal employees. Number one, I haven't seen nobody that work at the sports park directing traffic. Number two, I don't see them on the back of in police cars responding to emergencies. And number three, I don't think that there are some that may be seasonal, but some are full-time. So that right there in itself, it doesn't say anywhere on here that workers that work at the sports bar.
What's that and right there, Selectmen Eubanks?
And what, 240 hours for all
For
other
all
employees?
other employees.
And there's an and in there, that's another part of it.
And 240 hours for all other employees.
Yes.
Okay, what's it, 240 hours a week, 240 hours
No,
a
that's
2
just
weeks?
the max that,
That's just
employees
a
can
max
accrue.
number. Okay, so that doesn't really have nothing to do with nothing. That's just a max number. In light of this, I say to you, are we in the business of treating certain sections of employees differently than we treat others? Or should we all be treated the same? Why is it that the sports department, rec department, don't have the same ability to get overtime money as other departments? Why are we differentiating between the two? You know, one of the responses was, well, they have a lot of overtime. That's not their fault. What you need to do is come up. Somebody at that sports park want to rent them fields. Why don't we marry into there some money for those employees to come out there and clean up after them? They're not going to clean up after themselves. Them workers got to clean up. You know, so why don't we tie some monies into them renting the field? They rent a field, they just say $50, charge them $55. And let them know this is for the employees that are going to be out here to work. We should not enforce, and anytime you see anything that says witness name on it, that's a legal document. Was these employees advised by legal counsel that this was a legal document? Because if you go to court, first thing the city going to pull out is this document and say, well, you knew. You signed it. How many of them understand the fair labor practice law, fair labor law?
It's explained during their orientation.
You know, well, ain't the city's fault, but it's the.
All right. I'll make sure.
Ms. Davis,
So you mean to? Oh, no, I'm letting it go.
Ms. Davis, how is it, Selectman Eubanks, reading this policy, it does say emergency response seasonal employees. How did you and the rec department come together on this as far as making?
Now, this was taken from the FLSA website. We have seasonal employees that aren't full-time. Our seasonal employees are part-time. So this is for agencies who have full-time seasonal employees. For public safety, emergency response, that's police and fire.
Okay.
So they can accrue up to 480 hours of comp time. And all other 80-hour employees, the max accrual is 240 hours.
Okay. Selectman Eubanks again, just giving our city administrator, Ms. Davis, let's get some questions answered. Mr. City Administrator, if you'll come back and report to the board and kind of tell us how we're doing, that'd be important. Is there something we'll talk about North Magnolia?
Yes, North Magnolia Street. It's my understanding that North Magnolia Street is going to be paved from Pearl River to Avenue E. My concern is that we're paving half a street when further up that road, we have a big ditch in the middle of this street going straight up the street. Needs to be repaired. So my concern is we're paving a third of this street instead of just paving the whole street. And I would like the board to vote on getting the whole street paved instead of getting a quarter of this street paved. Because further up, and you can speak with your Mr. Lambert, this street, it's got a valley in it, all the way up. And it's raggedy, all the way up. And my concern is, why are we paving a third of the street, not just pave the whole street? The machines are there. And I would like to ask the board to, just as they did in the case the mayor wanted to pave Day Motors, I want them to come up with, to vote tonight to allow the monies to be put in place to pave the whole street. Why are we paving just a third of the street? What are we going to do, go and just dump off in the middle of the street? What are we doing? You know, let's pave the whole street. Why are we paving half a third of a street? That don't even make sense when the rest of the street is just as worse. You know.
Well, what we're doing is paving with the $3.2 million we paved.
But you didn't do that when you paved Day Motors.
But I'm just. But what
so I want the same consideration you got for your sweetheart deal. I want those for the citizens of McComb. What is we need to do outside of that bond that you did to get that road paved? To complete the road, to have the whole road paved instead of a fraction of it. That don't even make sense.
Well, you know, what we're doing is paving, and we're following the plan that was put in place, and.
You didn't follow the plan that was put in place.
All right, but, okay, yeah, I think that we did, and,
No, you sit there and had us
Right.
vote to allocate $45,000
Mhm.
to repave that road outside of what we had already voted on. Outside of that, so I want the same I want a vote tonight to authorize $45,000, just like you asked for, to go toward that road, to go fix that road. If you don't want to vote to have the people's road fixed, but you vote to have their motors road fixed, that's fine. That's on you.
all right. Well, there's been a motion to spend $45,000 on North Magnolia Street. Is there a second?
That's the motion now?
That's what I heard, 45,000 on
Second.
North Magnolia is a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Seven Brock.
Mr. Lambert,
Yes.
how much money are we spending in the cemetery for paving?
I think that's considered as part of the base bid, so I really can't answer that until I go back and get quantities that they're estimating to do that, because that was part of the base bid, and it wasn't bid by street.
Do you know how much street is over there? What is,
Probably going to be, so it's not gonna be as wide as a normal city street. It's not as wide as North Magnolia. Probably going to be, block and a half. Because we're going from the gate to the main entrance. I'd say a block and a half.
the area where Selectmen Eubanks is talking about, how much money are we talking about?
I have no idea, because this is the first I've heard of that. We've actually got plans to take the milling machine and to go in and mill out that valley as best we can, and then come back in with the steel wheel roller, put the asphalt down the valley he's talking about, and we'll actually seal that back in. One of the things we've had, and I think we've told y'all before, is this time of the year it's hard to get asphalt. They don't make a lot. With Dickerson Bowen getting phase 2, they're going to be making a lot more hot mix, so we're hoping to hit that a lot harder. And we found that where we've gone in and we've used the milling machine, and we've actually gone there and milled it and then got it kind of leveled out and then gone back in there, the patches have felt much better. And that North Magnolia, that is an area that we are well aware of, and one that we do plan to look at in that direction. We had not planned to redo the whole street.
Okay, so,
And I'm actually, well, let me, if I can,
Go ahead.
just a minute. I actually think you're probably talking, what, 3 or 4 blocks to get from Avenue E up to where you're talking about the valley is?
Yes.
Because it's going to go from Avenue E to, is it St. Augustine? Or does it go that far?
Avenue L.
Avenue L, okay.
so.
That's where the dip stops. Now, the rest of North Magnolia, past Avenue L, is bad as well. My thing is, why would we have all the machines over there to do a block and the rest of the road bad?
Well, we're doing a lot more over there with those machines than just that one block. We're doing, you did North Cherry, we've done several streets in that section of, in East McComb. I think y'all have seen a map. I can get the information to the board and have it at the next meeting. They'll actually show you the streets that we're doing, where they're located within the city, based on, I think we've got it based on phase 1 and phase 2. But now the section he's talking about, I'm not going to dispute, there's definitely a valley where a sewer main or water line was replaced or worked on, and just like it's done in other areas, it's got a utility cut, and it does run a pretty good length of the street, and we do have plans to get there and get that fixed.
Is there any kind of plan that would satisfy Selectmen Eubanks,
Well,
or requesting in the near future or something?
We can get there and get the valley fixed as soon as we can get asphalt to get it in, and of course, you know, weather permitting, we can try to do that. But we'll be more than happy to do what we can as quick as we can. But we had not planned to do the entire road from Avenue E to Avenue L. When we went into this, we knew there were limited funds, and we were trying to make sure that we got what we considered to be the worst streets that needed the milling, the full street needed the milling, that needed that. We felt like that area we could fix.
Boy, I assure you that according to this paving plan, there are other streets that look exactly like what he's talking about, that we only got 2 blocks or 4 blocks, but that's what we laid out, and that's what we put out for bid, and that's what we're trying to do. But there are countless streets in the city of McComb that, that look in the same condition. So we are making some progress overall, and that's where we are. Anyway, there's been a motion and second to spend $45,000 on North Magnolia Street. Any further discussion? Selectmen tell us.
I've got the same situation, James Street, Burke, Chickasaw, Shawnee, Pawnee, Westover, Christine, and White, so
I know.
we're gonna go with this, we're gonna go all of them, so.
Well,
that's
you
the way
weren't
I'm
saying
standing.
that when the mayor came here and wanted to pave around Day Motors.
I'm saying it
You
right
did-
now.
So now, cause I asked you to get a street
you
paved,
brought-
now you wanna say it.
Selectmen tell us,
Yeah.
Selectmen Eubanks, that's just cool. It's all
You
right.
didn't have nothing to say when he
Alright,
came here,
Selectmen
but I. That's all you said.
Mayor,
This is the gentleman over here, I got you. What you got?
I really think this is a matter that needs to be tabled because we just found out that our Public Works Department has a plan to address exactly what he's asking for.
Maybe Public Works told the selectmen something different, I don't know. But,
I don't think anybody's talked to Public Works.
Now, only that I talked to him, we rode around in the truck together. Me and Keith and him. And rode over the humps. And showed them to him.
All right.
So, yeah, I talked to him.
All right,
I would not have brought it
Out of
if
order.
I had talked to him.
All right, is there, did I hear a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second. There's a motion to table on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Hey.
Motion, mayor votes aye, the motion is tabled. All right, the next item. All right, I would move, let's get to a couple of items we've got, if I can find them. Who got mine? There it is. All right. First, I would move
Common sense.
that we would authorize the city attorney to prepare a release of Donna Heights. I move that we'd authorize the city attorney to prepare a release of Donna Heights property, one lot, previously owned by Mr. Patterson, subject to a mortgage made by Mr. Patterson to a mortgage company to accommodate the mortgage holder to sell said property, and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents. That be correct?
Yes.
Could I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Selectman Tullis?
Second.
And Selectman McKenzie for the second. City Attorney, would you like to apprise the board of this, what we're trying to do here?
We have no claim to the property. We'd be wasting money to try to go to court and say that we have a claim. I'd ask that we relinquish any claims to this particular one lot and the house on it in Donna Heights subdivision.
So this is a property that we encumbered through our lawsuit against Mr. Patterson, a municipal court clerk that embezzled from the city?
They want to make sure that we did not encumber it. I'm telling this board, we did not encumber the house.
They did not encumber, they want this document to help them just be free and clear.
Yes, sir.
And it was a piece of property that was mortgaged by Mr. Patterson well ahead of our,
Yes, sir.
of our defecation?
The mortgage was long-standing when we filed our lawsuit.
Okay. Selectman Broughton.
none.
Anybody got any discussion on this matter? Any ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. The second item is I would move that we would consider authorizing the city attorney to file a complaint for damages against Banks, Finley, White and Company of Mississippi, PA, period. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Need a motion and a second to that effect. Selectman Cameron.
Second.
Selectman Tullis. City Attorney, would you advise the board again and the public what we're doing here?
This would be a claim by the city of McComb against the company that was doing the accounting work and the audit work from the period of time commencing in 2000 7, and during which time, the city lost in excess of $1 million in regards to embezzlement, and we think in this lawsuit, we're on firm ground that embezzlement should have been detected by our auditor.
Discussion? You ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Board, the next board meeting is Tuesday, February 13th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. City Hall will be closed Monday, February 19th, 2018, observance of President's Day. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Selectman Cameron made the motion, Selectman Eubanks with the second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. We are adjourned.
Whitney, we've got to be here at 4 o'clock.